Добрий день, друзі. Добрий день всім. Я вітаю вас у медіа-центрі Україна і нагадаю, що ми працюємо за підтримки Міністерства оборони України та Міністерства внутрішніх справ і приймає нас Skylove Hotel. Дякую їм за це. Сьогодні наш брифінг пройде російською мовою для того, щоб цей брифінг побачили не тільки українці, але і на тимчасово окупованих територіях, на територіях країни-агресора Російської Федерації. Тож я прийду на російську вимушено. Хочу вас всех попросить не снимать наших военных и сразу сказать о том, что вопросы все вы можете задать свои после брифинга нашего, всем, кто у нас присутствует сегодня здесь. После брифинга, по его окончанию, к сожалению, у вас не будет возможности уже отдельно задавать вопросы. Брифинг наш сегодня посвящен принудительным, и у нас здесь военнопленные, которых принудительно мобилизировали в Донецке, в городе. Это студенты донецких вузов, которые были мобилизированы в ряды армии оккупанта. Большинство из них забрали прямо из учебных заведений. И произошло этого 24 февраля, в тот день, когда каждый из нас проснулся практически от бомбардировок страны-агрессора. Обмундирование и снаряжение российского образца получили они на территории Донецкого мясокомбината. Дальше их просто переодели в военную форму, посадили в поезд. Оружие им выдали уже в поезде и даже не научили им пользоваться. Ориентировочно 3 марта через железнодорожную станцию в городе Иловайск их вывезли на территорию Российской Федерации, в Белгород, где поселили на окраине города в спорткомплексе. В Украину они вернулись ориентировочно 5 марта. Далее получили задачу оборудования опорных пунктов и дальнейшей охраны и обороны. И 25 марта они были взяты в плен нашей украинской армией. Дальше, я думаю, они вам все расскажут более детально. Я прошу, представляйтесь, пожалуйста, расскажите о том, откуда вы, студент какого вуза и что, собственно, произошло, как попали в Украину, точнее, вы и были в Украине, как попали, скажем так, в район Харькова.
Меня зовут Марикуца Егор Евгеньевич. Я студент первого курса Донбасской юридической академии, проживаю в городе Донецк. 23 февраля этого года мне пришло сообщение вечером, что мне нужно 24 февраля приехать в определенное место нашего города для сборов, чтобы нас научили курс молодого бойца пройти. Вот. Соответственно, я приезжаю. Нас везут, там очень много людей, и взрослых, и молодых. Я приезжаю, нам с университета сказали, что это 2-3 дня, возьмите с собой суточный паёк, и вас домой отправят. Мы приезжаем туда, нас грузят в автобусы и везут в мясокомбинат. Там нас одевают в форму, дают нам вещмешок, каски, противогазы, котелки, и всякие принадлежности. Затем мы ждем некоторое время, нас грузят в КАМАЗы, в Уралы и везут в соседний город, в Макеевку, в поселок Объединенный, в заброшенный детский дом. Там, где мы первые дни спали на бетоне, там голые стены, ничего, нету. В следующий день нас переводят в школу соседа, она рядышком прям, функционирующую школу, там, где мы...
The school, and there we were accommodated in classrooms, in sports facility, and we were sleeping wherever we could. Then we were doing basically nothing. We were just arranging our everyday life, bringing some mattresses, some beds to make it more comfortable for us to stay there. And one day Once we wake up, they wake us up at 5 a.m. and they say urgent evacuation. Our location has been found by the enemy, so there is high alert. And I was mistaken. We got our arms not on the train, but in Makiivka. We were given assault rifles and knives, and 4 stacks, 4 cases with cartridges. Nothing else than that, nothing more. And we were responsible for keeping those weapons, those firearms with us. Then they put us into the buses, and we move. We are brought to the city, to the railway station, and we are brought to the city of Ilovaisk. Did you understand why are we going there? No, we didn't understand that. Everybody was thinking we would go to Russia for some military exercise or some training. There would be some initial military training in some training areas. Nobody knew where we are going. We were not told anything. My platoon, for example, was only formed here in the territory of Ukraine. Before that, I just was not allocated to any particular unit. And my friend will continue now. We all share the same story, basically. So, could you please introduce yourself? How old are you? And I'm Vladislav Vasilchenko. I am 19-year-old. And I studied at the Donetsk National Technical University 2nd year to become a software developer, programmer. I'm from the city of Makiivka in Donetsk province. So, that's how it happened. We got on board, we board the train. On the train, we are only shown how to disassemble and assemble the rifle. We are not. They don't explain a lot. We somehow disassemble it. We see that most of it is stained. There is an example that one guy took that spring from the assault rifle and it just broke in his hands. So much stained it was. So we spent 2 days on the train. Finally, we are brought to that sports facility, sports center. We spent maybe 1 day at most there. We were told that we would be brought for exercises in Russia because we don't have any training area, so we would be trained there. But we stay 1 day there, and next day again, they say, wake up, and they say, we move you somewhere. Again, trucks are brought and nobody tells where we are to go, for how long and so on. And only after we come to the village of Veselaya in Kharkiv province of Ukraine, now we start understanding where we are. And we were shocked a bit. There was no mobile coverage. Just rarely there was some mobile coverage so that we could contact our parents. We told our parents about the situation. They were shocked, to say the least, but still, everybody hoped that everything will be okay and we'll get back home. Now I will continue. I'm Yuri Sikach, born in 2002. So I'm 19 years old now. I'm a student of the first year of the Management Academy. My specialization is manager/economist. I'd like to add something about our gear. For example, there were those belts, and those belts were just with those Soviet flag, Soviet insignia on them. Helmets were from the times of World War II. Even when we were boarding the train, somebody didn't attach their helmet well, and it would drop from 1 meter height and it would split into 2 halves. So why do they issue that bad gear to us? It cannot protect against anything. What happened after that? We came to that village of Veselaya. Again, we are accommodated in the school. There is no heating there, no electricity, no water supply. Of course, nobody wanted to create any anything for us now. They tell us, if you want anything, if you need anything, you do it yourself. So we started looking where to get water. We asked local civilians. They told us where there is a well, and we could at least get some water to drink. We received food twice a day, and there were some soup or some mash without any meat. They said there is some stewed meat there, but actually there was no meat. It was cooked in a mobile kitchen trailer. Bread was brought on the 11th of March, and until the 12th of March, we were given the same bread. So it was dry, it was impossible to eat anymore. For example, I would put it into tea just to make it softer a bit. So our task was at the exits from that village of Veselaya, we should have some, we should create some roadblocks for some checkpoints. We would make those pits there, and we were told to check all those KAMAZ trucks coming in and out, to record all that information and then transmit that information. And if all of a sudden there is an attack, we should launch signal rockets. It continued that way. We have our shifts every time. We don't sleep well. We have 25 people in our platoon, but actually we had just maybe 15 healthy people there. And even, everybody was coughing. There was no normal medical support. And it continued that way. We had our duty shifts, and all of a sudden we were told there is a sabotage group, so again we have to pack up and move. Maybe somebody will continue. I would like to add something. In that town of Veselaya, there was no electricity, neither for local civilians nor for us, and our guys from Donetsk are electricians. They made some electricity connections there, not only for us, but also for local civilians. So local civilians treated us well. They helped us because, you see, it was difficult for us. Really, it was very difficult for us to stay there. We had to do everything on our own. There was no support, like cigarettes and everything. We had to find it on our own. And I'd also like to tell you about those roadblocks. We were stopping not only KAMAZ trucks, but all those vehicles, military vehicles and civilians, and recorded in the notebook who goes where to avoid any attack. We checked their registration and so on at that outpost. I'm Danil Didikov, born August 10, year 2000. I studied at Donetsk National Technical University. I'm on my first year of my master studies, and I was born in the city of Kyiv, and I used to live there. I'd like to add about Makeivka. Yegor said that we were transferred to a school. At least there was some heating in that school, so it was a bit warmer there. But there was a lot of people. So most of our people continued to reside in that abandoned building, and they just made some makeshift stuffs oven there to have something there. Also about food in Makeivka. In Makeivka, we didn't get any food for maybe 2 or 3 days. Then we were given some lunch boxes or rations, one ration per maybe 8. I'd like to mention something about civilians. Nobody among us never shooted, nobody killed anybody. We never shooted from our assault rifles. We didn't cause any forceful action. There was no marauder activities. We did not steal anything. We were just having our fatigue duties in our outposts, and we were just having our duty there, duty shift there, and we were just scared that there are some reconnaissance groups around, so we have to be on high alert, so we had to stay on duty 24 hours a day overnight. I'd also like to add something about the medical examination. There was no medical examination. Nobody asked us about our health condition since the very beginning when we were taken there. We heard rumors that in Kyiv there were already some dead bodies. I was also worried because I have had some heart problems and there was no medical examination. I told it, I informed our doctors, and they said, "Okay, no problem with that. You can be in the military." I'm Pavel Yelovnichi. I'm a student of the first year of master's studies in the Management Academy, and my specialization is sociology. And in that school in Olkhovka, we stayed not so long, literally maybe 3 hours, and after that we were told that we are moving into some building. We immediately moved to that building, and next to that building we had our sort of outpost, and we were told we have to make trenches there, to dig trenches and all that. And it was the 25th of February. Sorry, 25th of March. We started our duty shift again, and then an attack started, and we were captured there. We were captured on that day. Good afternoon. I'm Ruslan Primachuk. I'm 19 years old. I'm a student of Donetsk Polytechnical College. I'm studying to become a car technician, car mechanic. I'd like to add something about the health care that we have. There were some medical platoons, and there were, I think, 2 medical platoons, and for those 2 medical platoons, there was 1 medic in each, same student again. All the other people in that medical platoon were people of different specializations, different professions, nothing to do with medicine. And I'd also like to add that when we were on a train, we spent about 3 days there, and in one compartment there were 11, 12 people in per compartment, and there was just one ration per day for 12 people. So you can understand there was about 1,500 of us, 1,500 of us. Now about that village of Olkhovka. After our platoon commander moved us from that school to that other building, to that house, we, me, myself, and Artyom and Yura spent 12 hours guarding that house, that building. We were then, as we were told, later at 7 a.m. we got back into that house, and shelling started in about half an hour, and we went to the basement of that house. And in that basement, we spent some time, and there were many people, many of us there, and everybody around that house also came into that basement, down into that basement, and we heard that now there was that attack by Ukrainian soldiers, and we heard shooting and shouting, yelling, and we were afraid of doing something. We just stayed there in that basement, and we were waiting until Ukrainian soldiers would go downstairs into that basement. And when we heard them, we started shouting, "We surrender, we surrender." We put our weapons onto the floor, and we surrendered. That's it. I'm Artyom Nemchinov, born in 2001. I'm 20 years old. I'm a student of the 4th year of bachelor studies. I studied at Donbas National Academy of Construction and Architecture. I resided in the city of Makiyivka. So we were not shown how to use those weapons. At the very end, when we were brought to Olkhovka, we were accommodated in the school. We were given that ration, and we were carrying some ammo there. Then our platoon commander or company commander, somebody told us that we are to move to another building, and we were brought accompanying to another building, and we were told that that's the house owned by some parliament member or somebody. And we were told that I, as well as Yuri and Stanislav, have to go for duty shift for 12 hours, and then we will be replaced. Of course, it was very scary in the nighttime when there was some bombing, and then in the morning it became a bit quieter, and we went into the house, and we expected we would fall asleep. Then harsh, heavy bombing started, and our platoon commander brought us to that basement and told us, stay here. We all had our weapons, our firearms with us, and then the shooting started. We were all staying there in the basement, just waiting for, I don't even know what we were waiting for. And then when we heard some shouting, we put our weapons down, and we left that basement, and we surrendered. Good afternoon. I am Artur Klinov, born in 1998. I'm a second-year student, Bachelor of Studies, Donbas National Construction and Architecture Academy, Mechanical Department. I would like to add something about the train. There were rumors that there were 3 dead bodies taken from that train. They did not even reach the destination on the train. I'd like to tell you one story. When we were in that village of Veselaya, I went for my duty shift for a day, for 24 hours, and there was night, and there was no sound, and then all of a sudden there was some female shouting loudly. Nobody asked for help. I just heard, let me alone, remove your hands. I can say on my own behalf, I thought I would go there and help her, but I thought I have my weapon, so if somebody tries to rape that girl, I would at least scare that person. We reported to our staff. We had those topic phones or radio, so we reported to our staff, and they called our commanders, and they told that maybe that's just some trap, so don't go there. And if you would violate that order, there would be something very bad done to us. And I also remember that when I had my duty shift, some Russian came. I don't know who he was, but maybe not Russian, but I think he was Russian. And we were just standing there, just having our lunch. They just brought lunch, and we were hungry. And he would punish us for us eating there. He started giving some training to us, and that was the only time when we were shooting from our assault Kalashnikov rifles. No other time we were shooting other than that training. I would like to add something about that. He told us, shoot at that broken Russian Ural truck. That Ural truck was 300 meters from us, and nobody cared about many of our guys having eyesight problems. And they just told us, there was one guy, he said, I have bad eyesight, I just cannot see it. And they said, we don't care, just shoot. And they called us monkeys, and they called us in various ways, and that guy would hit us in our heads. When somebody would say, I have my bad eyesight, they would hit us. And I would also like to thank you know, when we were captured, there was a grenade exploding next to me, and my right leg was injured. I have a fragment in my foot and in my knee. So many thanks, first of all, to Ukrainian army, who provided me with medical assistance very quickly. I got first aid quickly. I got bandage on my wound to stop blood. And later, when we were brought here, soon I was carried to a hospital in an ambulance car, and I got skilled medical care. There was X-ray done, and reassured me that everything will be okay with me. One guy had very bad problem with his knee. He was either shooted or got some fragment in some bad part of his knee. And for example, he even received some surgery. So everything is very good to the maximum extent in terms of this assistance. So many thanks to the Ukrainian army who helped us, and many thanks to doctors, to medics. Special thanks, separate thanks to medics for helping us. Also, I'd like to thank to Ukrainian military for treating us in a very humane way. We are given food and water, and we are getting shower. We are given clothing and footwear because some of us were captured without any clothes. Thank you very much. Dear journalists, I think you can ask your questions. You can ask your questions. If you please use the microphone. Yulia Kirenko, 1+1 TV channel. Could you please tell me, some of you or several people can answer, what did you feel when you realized where you have actually come? What have you felt? Do you understand Ukrainian? The question in Ukrainian. Okay, great. Yeah. We were feeling helpless because you cannot do anything about it. You know, no way back. We cannot leave. We cannot flee. So, you know, we were told many bad things about Ukraine, like we would be killed, and, you know, we were scared of coming back because there we would probably maybe also be killed. Nobody knew what would happen to us, so we were just doing whatever we were told to do. I'd like to say something about myself. First thing I thought about was precisely to call my mother, to tell her somehow what sort of problems I have run into, because initially we didn't think we would come here. And we didn't even mention that we were forcibly mobilized, forcibly drafted. You know, they told us that we would be brought to prison, maybe. It was like some sort of threats of extortion, like so 7 years and for 2 years for parents, 2-year sentence for parents for hiding their children. Of course, we would not like to spoil our lives nor our parents' lives, so we were thought that would be just military exercise, and we were tricked into it. Yeah. Факты ICTV, I'm Oleg Kornienko. My question, in half a year of this briefing, I only hear how you complain about your conditions there, like you didn't have mattresses, you didn't have food, you didn't have cigarettes, so you were happy with all the rest, even when, according to what you say, you got into Kharkiv province and you followed all orders or instructions to dig those trenches, to defend those spots. So, you know, if you were given more food, if you were given more cigarettes, you were not scared by anything else, yeah? You were not scared that you have to go to war, that you would probably be forced to shoot into Ukrainian military, into people who just reside in this peaceful Ukraine until invaders came. That's one question. And second, you keep mentioning Ukrainians, Russians. Who are you then? How do you treat yourself? Well, for your first question, I would answer this. We didn't have any other solution, any way out of it. What could we do? We are basically children. What could we do other than that? We don't know what they would do to us, what would happen to us. You know, we didn't know anything. We didn't get any information. We were not told anything. What could we do? Locals liked us, actually. They treated us normally, in a normal way. So why should we treat them in a bad way? You know, they treat us well, then we treat them well, and the other way around, we treat them well, they treat us well. Also, of course, we didn't like it that we have to dig those trenches to create all those outposts, but again, we didn't have any alternative, because we had our commanders who could do brutal things to us. You know, we just wanted to get home. We didn't want to go to war. When we realized where we are, we didn't want to get into a combat action. We didn't want to do anything. We just wanted to get back home, get back to Donetsk, to see our parents, to see our relatives, our near ones. I just wanted to say that, you know, if any of my friends or acquaintances sees this stream, don't go to that mobilization. You know, it's not worth it. You will just, you'll either get captured like I got, or something even worse will happen. I can tell you a story. Here, I met a boy on the 24th of February. His name is Roman. And we were in the same university with him, but in different departments of that university. I met him during that mobilization. A very good boy, very good guy, very positive one. And we became friends with him, and when we got to that village of Falkovka, when we were captured, we were split into different platoons, in the same company, but in different platoons. And when he stayed in that school, and we were transferred to that house. And I don't know why, but how, but we were told that we are the only survivors. All the other guys died there. And, you know, I have a lot of pity for that guy. He was 19 years old. He didn't see a lot in his life. And other people, you know, just usual men, working people, you know, they have their family, their children. Is any of you ready to answer the second question? Could you repeat the second question then, please? You often said Russians have come, Ukrainians have come, Russians, Ukrainians. Who are you? Well, take into account that my birth certificate was issued in Ukraine. Of course, I consider myself a citizen of Ukraine. Since I don't have any other passports. I was not issued, I was not given any passport of that so-called Donetsk People's Republic or Russia. And I didn't get my Ukrainian passport because we were told that we would have problems if you get Ukrainian passports. So obviously, among all those documents, I only have that Ukrainian birth certificate, so I'm Ukrainian. Anybody else? I also believe I'm Ukrainian. At least we definitely don't consider ourselves Russians. I support my friends. I believe that I'm also Ukrainian, saying in Ukrainian. I was born in Ukraine. I only have a Ukrainian passport, and I consider myself a citizen of Ukraine. I also have my Ukrainian birth certificate. When in 2014, you know, I was told that there would be problems if getting Ukrainian passport. I was a little boy back then. I'm from Kyiv TV channel. To follow up on my colleague's question, if you're all considering yourself Ukrainians, how did you take weapons and coming to Ukraine? Because, excuse me, but nobody here believes that you didn't know where you're going. And second, if you, nor your parents, nor residents of Donetsk that didn't want to have this war, what did you do? Any sort of protest, any sort of sabotage, anything? May I answer this question? Look, first of all, we didn't know, indeed, that's the truth, we didn't know. We were just, you know, this is the true story from the beginning to the end. We were taken for some military training or something. We were told, you know, we were given food for 3 days, we have to take food for 3 days and our civil clothes. Who could imagine that we would be brought here, brought to Ukraine? And about the second part of your question, say, if you're Ukrainians, microphone, what did you do to prevent it from happening? We did not do anything because we got here, but I can tell you that, for example, our mothers, our sisters, our grandmothers, our grandfathers, they are too old to be mobilized, so they organized a meeting to bring their husbands, their children, their sons, their brothers, their fathers back home. Where was it? In Donetsk. It was in Donetsk, in the city of Donetsk. And at that moment, there was .u rocket. I don't know from whom, from where, and it was downed by that army of Donetsk People's Republic, and fragments of that rocket killed 23 or 26 people there at that meeting, at that rally, and more or less the same number of people was wounded. And so I believe that, you know, after that, people would be scared to arrange any meetings, to go rallying. Please speak into the microphone. Yeah, you're welcome.
Question in English, please. If Putin can see you now, what you want to say to him?
Кто ответит на этот вопрос?
Who can answer this question? I would answer. Esteemed Vladimir Putin, if I can say, if I can name you, esteemed. Stop this war. Do you understand that Ukraine did not start any aggression? You became an aggressor. You brought troops to Ukraine. So stop this war as soon as possible to stop, to prevent any more victims among civilians, among the military, and to prevent others from suffering. Anybody else? A question?
Is it true that you young people from occupied areas of Donetsk and Luhansk are forced to be the first to go against the Ukrainian positions in order to see how safe will be for the real Russian army? Basically, you are like meat for cannons.
I'll answer this question. Well, there were rumors. We were told, there were rumors that we are attached to the 6th Army of the Russian Federation, so that 6th Army had to move forward and to clean those territories, and we would go behind it and arrange order on those cleaned territories. But these were rumors. So, you know, based on how it happened in Elkhovka, it just turned out, you know, we were told that it's a Russian Federation. Here everything has already been occupied. Everything is clean here. And we were told that, you know, where can you be attacked from? Where do you have to defend from? We were told about some directions, and it went the other way around. We were given one direction and then came from a different direction. So don't you think that it was the other way around, that you were the first, not in the back? Yes, I think, yes. Yes, I think so. I think so. I also think that we were mostly sent as cannon fodder. We managed to speak with a Russian soldier who was also captured, and he told more or less the same stories from his commander, that their commanders bring their soldiers as cannon fodder and they die, and yeah, I think so. I'd like to add, if I may, about that Russian guy. He told us that when there was some shooting, his commander was within the tank, didn't even leave the tank, that commander. And he used the gunner to transmit his order. So he was so scared, that commander. But usual lay people, lay soldiers were sent by that commander, sent ahead. And he easily commanded them while staying in relative safety in that tank.
A question for all of you. Now you survived war. What will be your future?
Who'd like to answer this one? The problem is that we don't even know what expects us in the future, what the future will hold for us. We don't even have any idea. Even for 1 week ahead, we cannot look into the future, what will happen. So I personally, it's difficult for me personally to answer your question. We hope for the best. We hope for better. We hope that everything will be fine with us, that we'll get back home alive, healthy. And we hope that there will be no danger for us there and so on.
Ще питання?
It will be possible for you to go back home now? In Donbass, I mean.
Ну, надеемся, что...
We hope that we have this possibility. We don't know. We don't know. We didn't contact our parents as yet, but we hope that Ukrainian armed forces will give us this opportunity to call our parents to tell them that everything is okay with us. Maybe they will help us. Those parents will take us home. We hope for it at least, but we cannot answer how it will happen, how it will go, and nobody knows. My first question is: look, you say that your parents' wives were against mobilization, and you say we don't know where that rocket came from. So is it again that Bandera people shelled you? We were not there in Donetsk. We don't know. Was it Russia? Was it Donetsk? We don't know. But in your head, in your brain, don't you think about something? No, it doesn't ring the bell. Okay, and my second question is, you say that we could not do anything, it was so bad, but you only surrendered after our army defeated you, so you had no other way. Why didn't you do it earlier if you all believe yourself to be Ukrainians? I'll answer this question. We were just staying there. We didn't know who is where. We didn't even know approximate directions. We were just considered reserve soldiers. So in front of us, we also had that Russian army. So before that, we didn't even meet face-to-face any Ukrainian forces. And when this opportunity appeared, we surrendered because we didn't know, you see, even approximately where we are located. We were not told where we were. Even about that village of Vesele, for example, we were told that we are located either 20 kilometers from Kharkiv or something like that. But it turned out that actually we were 20 kilometers from Izum. So you see, there was this sort of different information. One more question. How can you call yourself Ukrainians sitting here in this uniform? I was given this uniform here, this clothing here. I was given this uniform, this clothing here. And any more questions? Good afternoon, I'm Taras Lazar from RAI Italian TV and radio channel company. One of you said that you were given one ration per 12 people, another one that one ration per 8 people, and you were eating for several days. Could you tell us how was it possible? You said that you didn't take anything from anywhere, so how did you get energy? When we were in those roadblocks stopping Russian vehicles, we didn't have cigarettes. We asked those Russians for cigarettes. And in that village of Vesele, people had used cigarettes as a local currency because they know they wanted to smoke too. So they exchanged food like eggs, milk, cottage cheese, chicken for cigarettes, and we exchange it, like we get it and we cook it. One more question, if I'm... Based on what you say, quite often you see that you see personless phrases. They brought something, they accommodated us, we were accommodated somewhere, we were forced by them. Who? Them. Them. Who are they? They. Russians, Russian command, like Russian or your Donetsk People's Republic, so-called, or who were all those people who commanded you as cannon fodder? I know that our commander, battalion commander, was a Russian. And not battalion commander, but the guy who was above our battalion commander and regiment commander was Russian, and all other people were from Donetsk, something like that. And you can imagine, like, who was the commander. All orders, I think it's clear where those orders came from. You tell it. You tell it. So it turns out that Russian army, Russian commanders issued orders for our Donetsk people, for our commanders. I'm from Oleg Kornienko from Fakta ICTV. I just want to understand. Before that full-scale invasion of Russia in Ukraine, as far as I understand, you were happy with everything in Donetsk. So you registered as conscripts. You didn't think that you could get to the front lines in the Joint Forces operation, even before full-fledged invasion. If you are recorded as a reservist, you're happy with everything. You did not protest against it, and now you became victims. Who would answer? Let me answer. Look, just, in Donetsk, people would register only voluntarily. Who wanted, they would go and register and sign a contract and so on. But all the rest of people had the chance to just continue our peaceful life. That everything would be fine, that we would just live our quiet, peaceful life, and sooner or later it would come to an end, that maybe there would be some peaceful agreement or some other end to this situation. So we did not think that we would be taken and sent as cannon fodder to this war. At that time, when Donetsk got temporarily occupied, I understand that each of you were like 10, 11, 12 years old. Does any of you remember life in Ukraine back then, when Donetsk was a flourishing Ukrainian city with our people there? Does anybody remember that time, or you don't remember it anymore? Yes, of course, I remember it. I can tell you, my parents are sole traders, businessmen. My father is a individual businessman, a sole trader. So in summertime, we could afford going abroad, then spending a week at home after that, and then going to Crimea to spend some time at the seaside. We could afford that. We could afford many things. We were living normal life. I also remember it. And I'm missing those soccer matches, big football matches, because we don't have it in Donetsk anymore. And when I passed that Donbass Arena stadium, I feel so sad, because that was one of the very best stadiums, and nothing happened there. I finished school in a small town, and after 9 years, I went to Donetsk to technical college, to join technical college, and it was in 2013, before the war. I saw people, many nice cars. It was nice. It was beautiful there. Now there is much fewer people there. Now, especially after this mobilization. When I was in Donetsk, mobilization was announced a bit earlier. On the 24th of February, there were already some groups in Vkontakte network where our military commissioners and so on say don't go to the street, that they don't catch you. So there were almost no people in the streets, sometimes women. I'm Lesa Turchin from Kyiv TV channel. You were asked about your future. You understand that nobody needs you now. Russia definitely doesn't need you. The so-called Donetsk People's Republic will not exchange you for anybody, because they are a non-existent country. So what do you expect? Because, some of you mentioned I would become a marketologist. Like, who needs you with a university diploma from the Donetsk People's Republic as a manager, as a marketologist? So nobody needs you now. What do you expect? We don't know. We don't know. Any more questions? No more questions. Thank you, everybody. I'd like to remind you that this is Ukraine Media Center. Dear journalists, please, microphone. Please speak into the microphone. And I'd like to remind you that at 3:30 p.m. we'll have our next briefing with General Gruzevich, who will tell us about the defense of Kyiv and Kyiv Oblast. Thank you very much. Stay with us.